For more than a decade, I was the only national park ranger in the Baltimore metropolitan area who was African American. I worked two places, but I primarily worked on a Hampton National Historic Site, which is just a few miles outside of Baltimore City. There, I told the stories of my ancestors unapologetically, their trials, their triumphs, and the tribulations. Over the years, I received many accolades for what I was doing and how I was doing, relating history to the present tense and also encouraging people what we should do to make it a better future. Over the years, however, I encountered all sorts of difficulties from management and from visitors. Some people didn't like what I was saying. I was told multiple times to change what I was saying or to stop saying what I was saying altogether. Now, this is why they call me the Lady Lone Ranger, because for so many years, I was the only one there telling the stories of the ancestors. Now, it's time to tell the whole truth. I am the Lady Lone Ranger. Why don't you let my people go? When Israel was in Egypt land, oppressed so hard they could not stand. The Lord told Moses what to do. To lead the children of Israel to, and then I go down where the Moses, way down in Egypt land. Hello, Pharaoh. Well, here I am in my ranger uniform in all my glory, speaking to my typical audience, which usually were people of European descent and usually people who have seen years. And surprisingly, over the years, they have been my biggest supporters. I would see African Americans from time to time, and whenever they would come, they would thoroughly enjoy what I was saying and even write letters, which were ignored by the management there, and they was saying how great they thought I was and how wonderful the stories I told and showing the shackles and the iron collars and letting them hold them and feel them. Even the white people would also just praise me. But for those few white people that would come in and just not want to hear what a black woman had to say about slavery, those were the people that management paid attention to. Now, these are images of actual slave quarters that enslaved people lived in. And originally these were extremely rich. So these slave quarters were made out of stone and they were much better than the average white person would have lived in during this time period, which would have been 1855. But don't get it twisted. The other slave quarters on the plantation would have looked exactly what you think they would have looked like. These were done for aesthetics. So when people came to visit them, oh, look how pretty your farm is. Maybe look how well you treated your enslaved people. The following is a video showing you the types of stories I would tell when people would come up and visit me at Hampton and why some people got upset. Don't ask me why, the truth is the truth, but some people can't handle the truth, apparently. Since its inception, the English colony, which later becomes the United States, was a place of the haves and have-nots. Mostly the have-nots working for 1 to 2% of the population that control the majority of the new country's wealth. Very much like it is today. At Hampton and places like it, during the 1700s, European indentured servants and enslaved Africans worked side by side. White and black bodies were whipped, ate the same lousy food, wore the same crappy clothing. some cases even escaping together because it was not about you're black, I'm white. It was more about we are both being oppressed. The Ridgeleys were equal opportunity oppressors. It was more about class than color. People resisted and fought back just like today. The powers that be created an illusion of difference based on skin color to create divisions between whites and blacks so they would remain in control. Still, today, 1% of the population controls the majority of this country's wealth. Divisions are made based on ethnicity, religion, skin color, and nationality. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Fast forward to the 1800s, Charles Carnan Ridgely, second master of the Hampton estate, is one of the largest slaveholders and landowners in not only Maryland, but in the United States. He enslaves up to 300 people at any given time, and upon his death, he released some of the enslaved with age stipulations. A 2-year-old would have to stay. If you are 45 years or older, you didn't go free. The way he wrote his will, slavery would have never ended. Destruction of the enslaved families on the Ridgely's plantations is not limited to ages. Case in point, Ridgely bequeaths a young Phoebe Cummings and her 4-year-old son Henry like pieces of furniture to different family members on separate plantations. In 2018, the dismemberment of black and brown families still goes on. The more things change, the more they stay the same. The Baltimore County Jail now sits on the very same land that once was owned by a freed African American community from Hampton. It incarcerates the second largest number of black bodies in Maryland and the highest black jail population in the entire United States. The prison pipeline is real, beginning at Hampton to the county jail. All done with the permission of the 13th Amendment. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have duly convicted, shall exist within the United States. The more things change, the more that some people want them to stay the same. Now, this is the view from the mansion, so you'll be standing at the mansion looking down to the original slave quarters. Well, we're in front of Hampton National Historic Site. You see it behind me. And the slave quarters are across the street. Original slave quarters, two of the few existing that are original United States and were right down the street from the Towson Mall. But I want to give you a perspective of what the ancestors had to do. So they would walk from across the street and come up this hill to get to the big house.